Great job, everybody. So the other day, I actually used this phrase to describe how I was feeling. I think I've lost it. And I'm not talking about like lost something. I'm just losing it today. Have you ever had one of those days where you think, I am just, or I'm on the verge of just losing it? Anyone? Yeah. It's easy to get there, isn't it? So today, I kind of want to come up with a little remedy for that. Now, I want you to repeat after me. I understand that the words I'm about to use are to be used on myself and no one else. Good. Ready? Here we go. 3 steps to healing yourself and others. Ready? Repeat after me. Shut the hell up. Ready? Here we go. Shut the hell up. Yeah. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. Right? Well, we want to talk about shut the hell up. Hi there. Welcome back. Well, I want to talk about shutting the hell up because hell is purely a state of mind. I open the door, I willingly walk in, and I close the door behind me and just bake for a few hours. Anyone? Yeah. And sometimes I have to go, why are you having this internal dialogue with yourself? Do you ever question yourself and say, why am I putting myself in this situation? I need to shut the hell up. In other words, take myself out of the hell that I'm about to walk in. Would anyone like to join me in following a couple steps with that? Yes? All right. So today I'm going to dissect shut the hell up. All right? Here we go. First off, I have to shut. Right? Just by definition. To move into position to close an opening. Wow. How many of us need to close some things that have been opened far too long beyond their expiration date? Anybody? Yeah. So first of all, I have to make a decision to shut something down instead of keeping it open. Because part of my hell is that there are things I need to shut down, but I just don't. So I let them stay open, which means the thought of that continues to spin around in my subconscious and then becomes part of my conscious spirit, and then that actually becomes part of my hell. So I have to learn to shut some things down. Does that make sense? Yes. Next, to prevent entrance to or passage to or from. Some things I need to not take in. Other people's hell, I volunteer to step into other people's hell. Does anyone do that? I voluntarily go into their hell. And I think, what in the hell are you doing? Right? So I need to stop voluntarily going into someone else's hell. Now, that doesn't mean I can't be loving and I can't be compassionate and I can't be supportive. What it does mean is I don't have to go into the hell. I can just observe it. I can love them through it, but I don't need to dive into it. You know you're diving into someone else's hell when it starts to begin taking some sort of an emotional impact on you, where you begin to feel their anger and you feel angry. So now I've stepped into their hell. Shut the hell up. To confine by or as if by enclosure. Sometimes I don't need to spread my hell around. Because usually when I'm in hell, the first person I call is my sister. You are not going to believe this. Anybody? Oh, doesn't this sound all too familiar? Does it? Or am I alone? Okay, so I need to shut the hell up. I need to stop inviting someone else on my journey of hell. Not voluntarily. Are you following me? Continuing on, to close by enclosing or covering parts together. Sometimes I just need to wrap it up. To cause to cease or suspend an operation or activity. Why do I keep doing this to myself. I have to hit the suspend button and stop going on this ride. Does that sound familiar? Dude, so it may not apply, these may not apply to like every situation, but I bet some of these sentences, some of these statements apply to different situations. Does that make sense? Okay. Last one. To close itself or become closed, to cease or suspend an operation or activity. To cease or just suspend it. Just stop it. Actually, that's a repeat. Here we go. What we allow to flow, Dr. Holmes, what we allow to flow in circumstances, right? Experiences, labels, people's ideas, circumstances can be regulated. What we allow to flow can be regulated. Now, sometimes we live our life wide open, don't we? We just open up all the what would we call those? Open up valves. That's the word. See, you guys are good. We open up all the valves, and we don't realize that those too can be regulated, so we don't constantly have to be all in something. I have to measure things. Now, there's certain things I'm all in on, and there's certain people I'm all in with. When it comes to my family, I'm all in. I can't regulate the valve, right? But there are certain relationships that I've allowed to become somewhat, how should I say this? Not somewhat one-sided. Let's go with what Cheryl was teaching, right? They become one-sided relationships, and I realize the valve is only open in one direction, and that's me giving and them taking. Does that make sense? Yes. So I had to learn to adjust the valve on these circumstances. How much do I want to be in? How much do I want to be in this energy? Am I able to? You know this person. You know the person I'm about to talk to you about. The person who's been doing the same thing the same way for decades and now wants you to try to facilitate change, even though for decades you've been talking about the change, but they've never facilitated it. Anybody know those people? Yeah, really frustrating to be around that, right? I have to regulate how much time am I going to put in that? How much effort do I need to put in this? Sometimes you can be all in, but sometimes I don't necessarily have to do that because I find myself entering into a phase of hell when I'm doing it. Now, that doesn't mean certain ones are going to be wide open, like I told you. But certain ones, I just need to gauge a little bit. A little balance means a lot. Without spiritual discernment, our filter, our lives don't always reflect our individual intention for experiencing all the good we truly desire. Without the filter, sometimes we just meander in and out of experiences without that filter. Spiritual discernment, the filter of saying this is a spiritually sound investment or a spiritually sound adventure for me to go into, or a spiritually sound relationship, a spiritually sound health regimen, a spiritually sound whatever that is. I have to make sure that it goes through the filter. A lot of times we walk into stuff and it's never been through the filter. Perhaps if we want to direct our life more clearly, we have to make sure that filter's in place. Now, the hell. Ooh. Hell is a discordant state of being, a belief in duality, a sense of separation from God, a belief that our good is always to be, but never is. It is hell living in a state of my goodness comes later. Something just came up I need to talk about. Thank you. Ugh. Oh, I hate when that happens. Don't you hate when that happens? When you're a minister, sometimes stuff comes up when you're talking, and you go, wow, something needs to come out because someone in the room needs to hear it too. Oh, no, I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it. It's here it is. I see in my world, and maybe you see in your world, people are so desperate to find someone to love that they invest all sorts of things in someone, and they continue to just think, if I just continue to do more and more and more and more and more, that some way, somehow, that person is going to reciprocate and bring back to me the love I so desire. I witness this a lot. Does anybody know this feeling? That you just keep giving and giving and giving and putting yourself out there and allowing yourself to be emotionally hurt and other things. And you do it because you think that someday, some way, this person or this situation is going to bring to me a sense of being complete. The problem with that is you're depleting yourself while you're waiting for someone to complete you. Don't allow yourself to deplete you in the hopes that someone can come fill you. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Hell is not a location. It's the atmosphere of false thinking. You know, hell isn't over there. Hell is in my head, always. Hell is anything which denies the truth of our good, the total embodiment of truth, and our oneness with spirit. Hell is any thought of duality. Anything that would deny the oneness of good, any idea which dilutes truth. The only hell we shall ever know will be that which appears as the result of our own negative thinking, the personification of any belief in evil. So the second we engage in anything that denies us our truth, that whole sentence came right from the science of mind. Anything that begins to deny us the right of feeling good, and you know it. You know it. Everyone in this room knows that feeling when you know that you know intuitively that you are going too far. Yeah. And it's not inspiration that's driving you, but it's desperation that's pushing you. So hell is a state of desperation for a lack of inspiration, but it's desperation. I'm pushing my way into something or waiting for something to happen, and because of that, this state of limbo feels like hell. Has anyone been there? All right, good, here we go. People believe in hell because they think it answers a lot of questions. It does not. It just makes the riddle more difficult to solve. We have to understand that hell is the sum total of our fears, and Dr. Holmes wrote, we do not deny the existence of hell or evil in the world, but it has nothing to do with God or the devil. It is due to ignorant choices of human beings based on fear. We will never solve the problem of hell until we place the responsibility where it belongs, with human beings. Love his last line. The only devil is in deviled eggs. Isn't that a great line? And that's all Holmes right there. He actually said that. I love that. But all of this is this hell that we sometimes find. Shut the hell up. The hell that I find myself in has been created by myself. And where's Cheryl? Cheryl did a really good job on our Power Talk, that we voluntarily walk into situations and place ourselves in relationships where we're the ones just giving, and I'm not talking about business relationships, personal relationships, whatever it is. We find ourselves just always doing this and finding ourselves almost incapable of receiving it, which is another whole sermon, another whole lesson. But for our sakes today, I want to talk about we cannot deny the existence of hell on earth, but that hell is always made by us. And I'm telling you what, all you got to do is turn on the TV and watch one 15-minute segment of news, and welcome to hell. You right? It's so upsetting. So it's one of those valves. It's one of those valves. I have news for you. If the news is on in your home more than 30 minutes in one day, you're in hell. And you know what? Whether you want to listen to this or not, the arguing that you hear on TV, it goes into your subconscious mind, and then that night you dream of people arguing and conflict. And there you are, wide open to it. because you open the door to it. Change your pattern. Turn that valve off. Be educated. Understand what's going on in the world. Then turn it off instead of listening to it all day long. I walk into homes sometimes to make, hospital calls, hospice calls and things, and, it's just playing in the background. And if you want noise, we can find other noise. We can find music. We can find beautiful music. You could buy Gary CDs and play them at home, right? Something that changes the vibe and doesn't bring the vibe and negative energy into the room. So, shut the hell up. Where do I want to go? Up. Spiral dynamics. So, in or into a higher position or level. When I say shut the hell up, I mean shut down and move up. Shut that stuff down and create a different direction for me to go. Does this resonate with you? Up, okay? In or into a higher position or level. In an upright position, get off the floor. Get off the floor. You don't need to go to the bottom of the barrel to get out. Wherever you are, tip the barrel over and crawl out. Don't hit the bottom. Upward from the ground or surface as to expose a particular surface with greater intensity. I need to be able to expose a different level, a greater surface, a different level of thinking that's going to keep me from going back into that hell. I can't walk back. I have to elevate my thinking. I have to elevate my behavior so that I don't step back into something like this. Does this make sense? Yes. All right? Keep going into up. In or into a better or more advanced state or in a state of greater intensity or excitement in a continual sequence into existence, evidence, prominence, or prevalence, into operation or practical form. Coming right from our textbook. Into a better or more advanced state. In other words, I have to get rid of my old paradigms or at least begin to shift them and to change them. Sometimes they're hard. I get it. I've been in old paradigms that have been there for decades. What makes me think in an overnight I can suddenly just shift everything? But a subtle shift is good. A move in the right direction is good. A step in the right direction, it means something. It means there's something within me that says it's okay to start moving in a different place. And as soon as I begin to move, the universe conspires to create more movement. As long as I keep telling myself, keep moving up. Right? All right, moving on. Maybe. My favorite definition for today's lesson is an end as in, at an end as in your time is up. When I'm talking about shut the hell up, you have to say to a circumstance or a situation, not a person, but you can believe it to be a person, but you don't, what did I say at the very beginning? These words are meant to be my own, not to be thrown about to someone else, right? So I'm not saying you go to this person, you go, shut the hell up, although I hear many of you say that quite often. I'm not advocating that as a minister that you go tell people to shut the hell up because they weren't here for the lesson. They would just think you're not being nice. But your time is up. Your time is up. In my head, your time is up. I can no longer give you that kind of attention. This problem. These problems. Your time is up. You've taken up too much time as it is. You've taken up too much emotional energy. I'm in hell that I placed myself in as a result of listening and trying to manage this situation. The time is up to shut this thing down. So what does this all mean? It means this. We have to believe in the transcendent power that we have to believe that we can hook up with this power at any time. And that we're already one with it. We have to know, sometimes it's difficult when we're in that hell to think that there is a power for good and I'm hooking up to it, even though at the moment it doesn't feel that. It feels quite contrary. Then we have to believe that when we speak our word, we are tapping, the source of our infinite harmony at a level higher than our limited and finite discord. So let me unpack that. So, first of all, we have to know that there's a power for good. And then we have to speak our word and knowing that we are actually being divinely guided into something and that something that is taking us out of our limited hell into an infinite good. Does that make sense? So that discord is limited. That storm is limited. Stop fueling the storm. Believe it or not, storms by nature want to pass. Their inclination and the nature of a storm is to pass through. Some of us have giant containers. And when the storm comes, we like, here, keep giving it to me. And you just want to gobble up more storms. The natural inclination is for a storm to pass and harmony to be restored. So stop standing in the way of the storm passing. In the end, our word of authority will take precedence over the discord. In the end, our word, our belief, will be stronger than the discord. So far, the discord's won out because your word hasn't been powerful enough or believable enough or convincing enough to yourself to stay in an authentic form which means something to you, which will then engage the universe in helping you move from it. Until then, you've just sort of become codependent on this. I know. Are you okay now? Do you feel like you're heard? Shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up. It's so easy, isn't it? It's just so easy. Not at all. But we don't have a choice. Well, you do have a choice. Stay in hell. Burn there all you want all day long. But there's a whole different world out there waiting for us. So say it with me. Shut the hell up. And so ends your lesson. Thank you, everybody.